Hydrate, stay cool, and get out.
Right now at 6, another day, another sizzler. What folks are doing to beat the heat in the Northwest and how hot it'll get tomorrow.
Plus, wildfire worries in Lane County prompt evacuations and sock in some areas with thick smoke. We're tracking your air quality and the latest on the Lookout and Bedrock fires. And later.
But here in Oregon, thanks to all of you, we're taking a stand.
It was the bill at the center of the Republican walkouts, and now it's become law. What got scrapped and where they found compromise. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to yet another day of dangerous heat in the Portland area and beyond. Right now, it's 101 degrees in the Rose City, meaning we are into the triple digits for the third day in a row. And now we are learning that this extreme weather has likely turned deadly. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Laurel Porter. Late this afternoon, Multnomah County officials said a person was found dead of suspected heat-related causes in southeast Portland. The temperature at the time yesterday evening, 106 degrees.
Now, this is a preliminary finding with an investigation still needed to officially call this a heat-related death. Once again, let's get to team coverage this evening with Mike Benner in downtown Portland with how people are coping, and Blair Best in Lane County, where multiple wildfires are burning.
But first, let's go to Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino in the Weather Center with the latest. Matt?
You know, we are cooler, such as it is, than we were yesterday, but still very hot. We topped out at 103 today. That's 5 degrees cooler than yesterday, so at least we're going in the right direction, right? But still, record high temperatures prevalent throughout western Oregon. Eugene was 105, Corvallis 102. The hottest weather now shifting east of the Cascades. So that's kind of the normal progression of how our heat waves end. Sometimes it goes quickly, sometimes it takes a few days. This is a case where it's going to take a few more days, although we should begin to stay below 100, if not tomorrow, then certainly on Thursday as temperatures begin to back on off. Outside right now, a lot of haze out there, 102 out at the Reserve Golf Course, so we're still very hot. But you know where it's cooler? A lot cooler than yesterday? The coast. Yes, the coast is normally cool, but remember, we had mid-90s down parts of the coast yesterday. Cannon Beach is 70 right now and not that smoky. And speaking of smoke, wildfires in the Willamette National Forest and in Lane County, we're on the northern edge of the high-level smoke from that. Our air quality is suffering a bit from this. I don't think it'll be too long-term, but the other thing that we're seeing right near the fires are clouds developing. There are thunderstorms in central Oregon, and yes, they're producing lightning, but they're also producing rain. It would be so great if we could get some rain on those fires. It's getting close. I don't think we'll see widespread rain over the fires from this batch of storms. Looks like it's going to miss it, but any bit of rain would be helpful, and at least we're getting some down in that neck of the woods. So bottom line is this: not as hot tomorrow, still hot, still around 100, but not as hot. Much cooler weather comes in Thursday night. That's when we get the big time relief as that cooler coastal air floods back into the western valleys. However, with that, concern is the wind, because it's going to get really windy in the Cascades and on the east side Thursday night and Friday. That, of course, is a big fire weather concern, so we need to keep watching for that. As far as our smoke goes, it should begin to get pushed out tomorrow and on Thursday as we get a reprieve from the hazy air. Guys?
Bring on that rain. Thank you, Matt. Let's bring in Mike Benner now with an update on how people are managing to get through this scorching stretch of weather. Mike?
Yeah, simply put, Laurel, lots of water, and we'll have more on that in a moment. First, a little bit more about the air quality. Folks over the DEQ say that the air quality is moderate. We should expect to see some hazy skies for another day or two, as well as surface level smoke. But nothing to be too concerned about. And what that does is allow us to focus on that extreme heat. And I can tell you that was top of mind at the Clackamas County Fair in Canby. That event typically draws a big crowd, and today was no different. We found plenty of families enjoying the fair, but boy, was it hot. The sun was just beating down on the fairgrounds. This was not lost on organizers. They implemented plenty of safety measures, and among them, misting stations, water stations to refill reusable water bottles. And we saw a number of industrial-sized fans as well. All of that was appreciated by fairgoers who took measures of their own. Listen.
We're just staying cool by having this canopy over the kids and some little neck coolers, which is nice.
Hydrate, stay cool, and get out.
Did you come early on purpose?
We did, yeah.
We
didn't go to the parade like we normally would so that we could enjoy before it gets too hot.
Yeah, we talked to a lot of people who arrived at the fair early in order to leave early and avoid the unbearable heat later in the day. Not a bad idea. And speaking of hot weather later in the day, we can tell you that Oaks Park actually shut down at 4 o'clock today, so 2 hours ago, and that's because of the heat. Back to you.
It's probably a good idea. Thank you, Mike. And as Mike just mentioned, the air quality in the Portland metro area isn't too bad. You probably noticed some haze, though it's significantly worse as you move down the valley.
I mean, you can taste it outside here, but this is what it looks like near Eugene this afternoon with air at moderate to unhealthy levels, all because of the Bedrock and Lookout fires that are burning in eastern Lane County. The Bedrock's been burning for more than 3 weeks now, mostly in remote forest there.
But the newer Lookout fire is now prompting evacuations near the communities of Rainbow and McKenzie Bridge. Blair Best reports from just outside the evacuation line.
Now, as I'm sure you can see from the air around me, the smoke from the Lookout fire is making it pretty hard to see and breathe throughout parts of Lane County. Now, fire crews from across the state have been coming here to McKenzie Bridge to try and put out these flames. Along the McKenzie River, people like Joe Zook prepare for the worst.
We've been watering the perimeter of our land for several days.
He lives just outside the Lookout fire evacuation zone.
It did flare up yesterday, pretty good. Yesterday morning, I could hear it sitting out in the backside of my house.
On Monday, crews from the State Fire Marshal's office arrived to the Lookout fire, which is burning in parts of the Willamette National Forest, to try and slow the flames. It was caused by lightning and has burned more than 2,700 acres so far.
We could hear everything. We could hear the helicopters that were dropping water yesterday.
Just a few miles away, scars from a previous wildfire remain. Miles of charred trees, a stark reminder of the Holiday Farm fire that devastated the town of Blue River just 3 years ago.
Yes, yeah, and 2020, September, Labor Day weekend.
Sharon Sheets lost everything.
You're just numb, and that's kind of devastating when you come back up and you see something that you've worked so hard on. My husband had built the first house.
Next door, construction crews rebuild the neighborhood amid the smoke from this year's blaze.
When it first broke out, you think, oh no, here it is, it's going to happen again. Because you just don't know what a fire is going to do.
Now, these communities have been hit hard by wildfires in the past few years. Everywhere you look is a reminder of something they've lost. Though a major difference in this year's wildfire is it's moving slower due to a lack of wind.
Other than the smoke, we seem fairly safe right now, but it's just that it still lingers in your mind.
We've kind of grown used to that, though.
And that's just the tough part about living out here. Now, the State Fire Marshal's office is calling on crews from California to come here and help fight these wildfires. Now, remember, there's another wildfire burning in Lane County, but south from here, called the Bedrock Fire. Now, those of you impacted by the Lookout fire, there's a community meeting on Thursday at McKenzie High School. In Lane County, Blair Best, KGW News.
Let's get to your headlines now, including homeless outreach groups doing what they can to support people living on the streets in this extreme heat. We tagged along with a crew from the Transition Projects as they passed out water, snacks, and a list of cooling centers. Some people who are homeless called the heat absolutely unbearable.
It's ridiculous. It really is. I can't do it. If I get too overheated, I'll end up going into a seizure. And it's something I don't want to stress him out about, but there's not much I can do.
Now, one person told us they'd only been able to sleep a couple hours because of how warm it was overnight. A reminder here, TreMed is offering free rides to cooling centers. We've got an updated list of locations up for you on KGW.com.
Portland police have made an arrest in a recent shooting that left 2 people dead in the Hollywood neighborhood. Back on June 23rd, police say they followed the sounds of gunshots to a car crash on Northeast Sandy and Cesar Chavez Boulevard. They found 2 men inside who'd been shot. The driver, a Gresham man, died at the scene, and the passenger, a Nigerian national, died a week later. Yesterday, officers arrested 24-year-old Bennett Miller in Mount Tabor. He is now facing 2 murder charges in addition to weapons and drug charges.
In Damascus, the man who police say is responsible for sparking a fire on Monday is now charged with DUI and hit and run. Authorities say 30-year-old Mario Quinones Verduzco drove straight through the intersection at Southeast 190th and Tillstrom Road early Monday morning, plowing through a fence and crashing into a motorhome. They say that crash ignited a fire that destroyed both vehicles and came within feet of a home. There is more here. Damaged power lines also arced, catching the grass on fire. Deputies say the suspect ran away. They found him nearby, and they say he failed a breathalyzer test. It does not appear anyone was injured.
Today, Oregon Governor Tina Kotek signed a pair of health care related bills. First, there's the Reproductive Health and Access to Care Act. That's HB 2002. This is one of the bills that prompted that lengthy walkout by Senate Republicans. It keeps abortion decisions between a patient and their doctor and shields providers from anti-abortion laws being passed in other states. However, under a compromise that ended the walkout, children 15 or younger can get an abortion without parental consent only if signed off by two health care providers. The bill also closes gaps in insurance coverage when it comes to gender-affirming care. The other bill sets nurse staffing ratios and minimum staffing levels at Oregon hospitals.
You're watching KGW News, and straight ahead at 6, the vice president lands in the middle of a Northwest heat wave, though when it comes to her message, you might say her timing was perfect. Plus,
you calling and threatening is not going to stop us from doing what we need to do.
Why the owner of a Northwest tap room says her bar was targeted by a threat, and why she says she's undeterred.